Now we're good.
Hi,
Okay.
I'm Christine.
And I'm Maddie.
Christine, Maddie. Christine, Maddie.
You need to speak into the microphone, Mike.
Not really, but okay. And I'm Mike.
Okay. And can you say your name again, just so we have on the video, please?
We're being videoed?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That
know.
changes the ball game
Yeah.
right there. I thought we were just going to get away with radio. You going to go first?
Sure. I'm Michael Milton.
I'm Katie Van Nostrand.
So,
Katie's from New Hampshire.
I don't know where.
Mike, we hear you're a Twitter superstar. Why should teachers consider using Twitter?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I manage a chat called SS Chat. It's where a bunch of educators tweet and discuss things on in education. Why should people join Twitter?
Teachers.
Why should teachers join Twitter?
Yeah.
It's a neat way to connect with other teachers around the world. There's a really neat community that's already there. But if you don't feel comfortable sharing there are other places for you to also go to. There's lots of neat groups on Facebook and through Google Communities. There's a lot of neat ways to connect with other educators, including here.
Did you add your Twitter to the Twitter board?
I added my Twitter to the Twitter board.
Woo!
Good. What about you? Do you have a Twitter?
I have a personal Twitter, yes. I haven't done it for my classes yet or anything, but I do use the idea of Twitter in the classroom. I use it to have my students practice summarizing. They have to do certain things, and you only have 140 characters, so it really makes it hits the point home that you need to make sure you're doing the important information and everything, and you can't just put extraneous information in there. So,
What do you use?
Oh, no. No, yeah, you
Do
go
you
ahead.
just use paper, or do you
yes,
just,
I have a tweet bird that is probably about yay big like that, has some lines on it, and so they did a current event project, and that was one of the parts that they needed to do, is they had to have a tweet on it, and they had to do hashtags, at least one hashtag.
Yeah.
The more creative, the better. I like the funny ones. So yeah.
Did you put your Twitter on the Twitter board?
I haven't, not yet. I'm going down the line. You guys caught me first. Yes.
There you go. You guys just did something really important. Now she's going to
We
be...
just inspired you. We're going to make sure you put it on there, too. You're not leaving until you put that on.
Okay, so we have the answers for each. If you could have lunch with any historical figure, what would you have lunch with?
Do you want to go first?
No, give me a second.
All right. If I could have lunch with anyone, I really like Thomas Hobbes. He's a bit cranky, and I just think he's really amusing. One of my favorite quotes from him, and I might get it wrong, so this is probably isn't. He said, "When my mother was born, she gave birth to twins, myself and fear." That's crazy. And I just want to see what type of guy would say that. And so I think, I don't know if we would be best friends, but I think that we'd have a really interesting lunch. I think it probably wouldn't be a dinner. It would probably just be lunch, because he'd probably want to get to bed early. He's a cranky guy.
I could see that.
At least I think he is.
Yeah. I guess I have two. I'm indecisive, so I have two.
It's okay.
Benjamin Franklin, because he's also the stuff that he says, his quotes are very funny. He seems like a very down-to-earth kind of guy ahead of his time. So I think that would be really neat. And Winston Churchill, because some of the stories that I've heard about him and some of the things that he's said are also funny. So, and they both lived through some very important historical events that I would be more than happy to listen to them talk for a long time.
You probably have better people. My guy's just
fine.
this random philosopher who's cranky, and you're like Winston Churchill, who's awesome. So you have a better
I had
life.
more time to think about it. So.
So what do you teach? What's your main subject to teach?
So I teach, mainly I teach world history to juniors. This year I also teach U.S. history to freshmen. They're entertaining.
So we have a question for you.
Yeah.
What was your grade in the subject that you teach now? If we better how to be it or anything.
What grade did I get in history?
Yeah, what was your physical, was it you a good student, a average student, or a more poor student?
No, I excelled in history. I had world history freshman, sophomore year, and I had 95s across the board. That's an A+ there. And then I took U.S. history. But this is actually
I'm pretty sure 95 is just an A.
Yeah.
So at my school, it was an A+.
Right. Yeah.
That's how we did it at Central Catholic High School in Lawrence, Massachusetts.
Yes.
And then in my junior year, I took AP U.S. History. My grade was not an A+.
AP tests are hard.
It was a C my first quarter, but then I got it. I know.
What'd you get?
But then
on the
I got
test?
it up to a B. On the test, I got a 5. So it's scored out of 1 through 5. I had a
like
great
100.
teacher who worked us very
I'm
hard.
taking AP next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which AP?
So am I.
AP.
Beats me.
Oh, my goodness. You're just like AP, sign me there.
Mr. Bogish,
something.
what's the AP class I'm taking next year?
It was arts and crafts.
Oh, yeah. You're gonna.
It's like they don't even use like paste anymore for glue. They use like real Elmer's liquid glue now.
Oh, wow.
Is it like AP Government or?
It's 6, yeah. 6.
Yes.
AP
that.
Civics?
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Awesome.
Cool.
I think with politics.
I don't even know. My mother handles all this stuff. I don't pay attention anymore.
So what about you? What do
Geography
you
teacher.
I teach geography, and I actually never took a solid like geography course until grad school and college. So I actually never took a geography class. My history classes I was pretty good at. Again, I excelled at those, which is probably one of the reasons I am a history or social studies teacher.
That was the question we're going to ask next.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Our next question was
I guess you can start now.
Yeah.
Unless you
Ask
have-
that question, and then I'll.
it was
How did your grade affect you being a teacher?
or your decision.
Yeah.
Actually, I know I was really interested in U.S. history. I went to a lot of like battlefields and things with my dad when I was younger, and actually in U.S. history, out of all of my social studies class, U.S. history was the one I got the worst grade in. I think I had like a B+ or a B the whole time through, but it's still. I don't know if it was just by default that I wasn't really good at math, and I didn't really like science, so I don't know if that is how I got into it, but history and those stories always kind of drew me in and pulled me in, so sharing that passion with the younger people of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was your good grade like make you become a social studies teacher, or was it for a different reason?
I actually I did not want to become a teacher. I wanted to do something else. I didn't know what it was. And then I did this program called AmeriCorps, which is kind of like a domestic Peace Corps. You've ever heard of the Peace Corps?
Yeah.
So I worked in middle and elementary schools in Cleveland, Ohio, and I was teaching this thing called Junior Achievement. It's a social studies curriculum. And a girl wrote me a thank you note, and she said, "You were a great teacher, Mr. Milton." And I was like, interesting. Maybe I could do this. And so then, I already really liked history and I really liked education. And so then I was like, this is kind of what I want to do. And so then I became a teacher.
What is your favorite unit to teach in like social studies?
Do you want to go?
Sure. So for geography, it's nice because I can pick whatever order I want to teach things in. I just have to go continent by continent. And my favorite one as of right now is I've split Europe into Western Europe and Eastern Europe, and I love teaching Eastern Europe. And we talk about the Cold War and the Soviet Union and the Berlin Wall, and the kids get into it, and that's by far communism and all that.
So
is
because
my favorite.
you like divided up this.
Yeah, that's
you
not.
chose to be you're interested in the Cold War, 1950s forward.
Yes, and I think it's better to. Europe has so many countries and everything, and then there's the divide of course because of the Cold War.
Yeah.
There's that divide, but you guys have heard of France, and you know the capital's Paris, and the more familiar to the students is Western Europe, and then throwing at you Hungary and Moldova and all these other countries that they're like, wait, what? That's in place? Splitting it up because I have them memorize the capitals and countries and everything of Western Europe, and then not necessarily for Eastern Europe because we go more into the history behind that.
Yeah.
So
if you saw what she did, she was really totally interested in something, and then she made that a thing.
Yeah. So
geography can do it.
social studies is my favorite subject.
Yeah, I love social studies.
Oh yeah.
Why do you guys like? Did you like the stories? Or
I like the story.
I partially because I'm not very good at math and science.
You're
Exactly.
you and Ellen both.
But I'm still not very good at it. I don't like it as much. I'm more of a social studies
Because
LA
it's like
person.
it's like hard.
Yeah.
It's hardcore facts kind of thing.
And I love like writing.
I love learning about the 1900s. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Like the 1920s.
1920s, yeah.
Yes, I love
So you
it.
like the flapper period, like
Yeah,
the big boss, and
dude.
then
Oh,
when
yeah.
everything breaks down in the 30s. The Prussians seem pretty sad.
Yeah, and but it had like a good like.
Probably why it's called a
But I like learning about like the 40s and the 50s, like on until like learning how that changed into now, like present day.
Yeah.
That's what I find that's like, most
Okay.
interesting.
So do you find like stuff earlier a little bit harder to get to because you don't see it as much in today?
Yeah, and it's like for me, like they use all these fancy words and stuff, and so like I can really connect more to the 1900s. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like
and I know like I'm a I don't want to say musician because I'm not really a musician, but I like sing and I play a couple different instruments.
What do you play?
I play ukulele. I'm learning
Oh, wow.
guitar.
That's awesome.
And
That's
I'm learning
awesome.
piano.
Oh God.
So yeah, and so like I love like the music
Music.
from
Yeah.
that era, and so like the music just kind of draws me in. And when I start learning about the music, I start learning about other stuff, and I start learning about how so and so did this part. And I love the 1900s.
Do you know that there's music in the 1820s?
Well,
And
there
then
was,
1700.
well, there
Yeah.
was.
Totally.
I know, but I
Harpsichord.
love like I love like swing music. Like I just
Okay.
love it.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. That
No, I get it. I get it.
But no,
much
there's like
different.
popular. Like you're more likely to hear music from the 20s today. But it's harder to like oh those 1870s tunes. I hear they're great.
Yeah.